There are very few practical resources available to mothers with rheumatoid arthritis that demonstrate how they can make practical adaptations to their life in order to be able to live a full and rich, experienced life. Today we're going to show a couple of women who have made some really practical as well as emotional and psychological adaptations to living with and mothering with rheumatoid arthritis.
So I've had rheumatoid arthritis for around about 6.5 years, and it actually came on very strong when I first had it. Being a very athletic person and being able to use my body in many strong ways, and then all of a sudden becoming quite crippled. And I guess thinking back, it was pretty hard to accept. Because I thought, this is not going to last forever. It's something that I can overcome, but it just kept getting worse, and I wasn't able to work properly. I was told by doctors and specialists that I wouldn't be able to do my degree because of what was going to happen to me in the future. And I guess I did go through a lot of emotional distress, and but having the support of my family, having the support of my partner who I'm married to now, I guess, and being quite a strong person, I felt I could get through this. Find a I guess a cure. A cure's, we can use the word cure, can't we? So the take-home message that I really want to give to everyone out there in the same sort of position as me is take control of your own life and take control of your own research in regards to rheumatoid arthritis, taking responsibility of where it goes. I mean, everyone's going to have a different experience, but I believe we need to just take information from everyone and mold it into what best fits for us. Because there's experts there that are very passionate about things and they have some great information. Take some information from them. There are people who live with rheumatoid arthritis like myself. Take some information from them. Look up some information. Don't just think that there's only one answer, and what works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But in the end, I guess what we're after is having our life and having the most fulfilling life that we can possibly have. And so for me, that was having a healthy family, and so my direction went more steering towards alternative medicines, and it has worked for me. And I do believe the mind plays a big role in this as well. So good luck, and I wish you all the best. And I believe miracles can happen and great things can happen, and don't believe that this is the end and this is who you are, because it's not who you are. And don't let it take over your life.
I'm Shannon. I'm 37. I was first diagnosed when I was 33. I was 36 weeks pregnant with my eldest child, who's now 4.5. So she came along 3 weeks later, which basically gave me 3 weeks to have a think about what was happening in my life and adapt. I was already having problems. So I had my hands in splints with carpal tunnel. So in a way, it was sort of a relief, because I've been experiencing health problems for some time and didn't really know what it was. So at least I had a definitive answer. On the other hand, it turned our lives upside down very quickly. At the time, I was with my children's father. He worked away, so I lived on my own predominantly. And all of a sudden I had a brand new baby and I could hardly look after myself, never alone a new baby. You know, it's kind of hard to think about now, because you just did learn to adapt. And when you say to people now, I couldn't really use my hands, yeah, I mean, when you've got a new baby, you just have to learn how, because I couldn't call anyone to come in and help me. Those services just don't exist. And then you speak to other people and you say, oh, this is what my knee was like and I couldn't move and whatnot. I would set us up on the couch, for example, and when she was tiny, I had a basket on the couch. Or if we were in bed, I had a special, we called it the boat. It was sort of like a foam mattress as a safe sleep pod, basically. So you would basically just set yourself up in one spot and would have minimal movement. When I was pregnant with my second child, I set up a mattress on the lounge room floor. We were in the new house by then. And my eldest just would play on the floor all day and really stay quite close. And I don't know whether this is a consequence, but she's quite, even as a child now, she likes to stay close. Whereas my youngest is very independent. So I don't know whether that's because she just got used to me being so close. But yeah, you just make these adaptations, I guess, because you're out of necessity. So on a really bad day, and it's probably a lot easier now with disposable nappies because that's, quite an easier process. You would just put up with the pain, I guess, initially. Because I could use my hands. It was just extremely painful. I mean, the dexterity is quite bad, but you don't actually need excellent dexterity to change a nappy with the tabs. So it's not like I didn't change it. Like, it's not like I left it every 10 hours to change her. She's still got changed regularly. But you would think about the clothes that they were wearing. And probably lucky with my first child, who I was the worst with, she was born in mid-September, so coming into warmer months. Often she would just be in a nappy. So, but if she was on the bed, so I used to have a sling. I had a couple of different types of slings. Sometimes I would use the baby beyond where they're sitting at the front, but that used to put pressure on my neck. So it just used to depend. I used that a lot for my second child because I was still carrying my first child on my hip when she was born. She was only 18 months. But you just got quite good at, so you do your nappy change. Usually on the bed, I would do it. I found change tables very difficult. And then I would just sort of slide her using my forearms into the sling. Because it wasn't just your dexterity or the pain, it's you don't seem to have the message from the brain to the hand, so you tend to drop a lot of things as well. So yeah, you're being extra careful. Like, I would never walk down the stairs just holding her free hand, if you like. I would always have her in a sling. And I know a lot of mothers also use those wrap around, you tie them up slings as well, so they're quite close. And that comes in quite handier too when you're feeding, because it's not having to do a lot of changing around to be able to feed the baby as well. I think if you can learn to be really kind to yourself as early as possible. So I'm almost 4.5 years in diagnosis, and I'm only just getting to that stage. If you can give yourself a break straight up, I think that's easier. Don't go into all the guilt about what you can't do. Just celebrate your successes, even if they're just small, even if you can just get up and shower yourself and the baby's well looked after. Try not to neglect yourself too much. If someone offers to come around and look after the baby so you can have a nap for 2 hours, do it, because it's not being selfish. Those self-cares will help you be a better mother at the end of the day. Exercise is really important, even when it's painful. The people that I know who try and get out and exercise, even if it's just walking around the block, do seem to fare better, even though the temptation is to sit and do not much. Just look after yourself, I think.
Well, realistically for me, it was in my knees mostly. So a lot of it was I had to make adaptations for, I parked closer. I loaded the kids both up into the same pram and pushed. I had to get an easy pram. I found it hard to get the big, 2-seater prams out and sort that out, doing the clips up. Although I never sort of feel pain in my fingers don't behave the way they should sometimes. So the stairs at home, just perseverance and letting my husband run on those days that it's not so easy. So, and the kids are really good at going up and down stairs too. So, just because I couldn't do that day doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't do it for me. So, and as much as I promote being able to do everything for yourself, I think it's good to teach your children to help out too. So yeah, that's really for me the biggest thing was coping in hospitality. I gave it a bit of a break for a little while. Now I'm back into it and nothing stops me. Don't give up on yourself. And don't say I can't. Just go and try. There's plenty of, like for the gym, for instance, there's plenty of people who go to the gym who can't do yoga, can't do all the things that they're doing. I love Zumba. Zumba is awesome. And I can do everything. I can get down and do all those things on my knees. So whereas I once said I can't, I know that I can. It just takes practice. So, and it takes perseverance. And I'm chasing all my kids around, my 3 beautiful children, 2 beautiful boys, so I have to be active. So, my life is not full of negative rheumatoid arthritis stories anymore. I hear people tell me lots of positive arthritis stories, how they can wear high heels and how they, again, and all this. It's just, there is no end to the possibilities you can do. You just have to believe in yourself and know that it's a journey, but it will come good.
I was diagnosed just after my 25th birthday. My daughter was 3 months old at the time, and I didn't know what was happening to my body. I couldn't get off the toilet seat because my legs, my knees were in so much pain. Couldn't grip on anything, couldn't squeeze anything to open a bottle or a kettle or the gas cover in the car. So I didn't know what was going on. So I went and saw a doctor, a GP, and he referred me to a specialist where I found out I had rheumatoid arthritis, or the signs led to that. I was on medication for about a year, and then with my doctor's advice, we weaned myself off that. And 6 years later, I lost, so that was 2004, so 2011 it came back really badly after I'd lost 16 kilos. I had pains in my shoulders, my knees, my knuckles, and as you can see, my knuckles quite swollen. And at first it didn't really resonate. I thought that I didn't really know what was going on. It didn't even click that it could have been the arthritis again. I thought it had gone away. And having a second child also in 2007, I thought if it was going to come back, it would have come back with the second child. And I was glad that it didn't. But so I was surprised when I realised we were away, and I thought, this is the arthritis, it's come back. So I sought advice, went and got into the specialist again, and obviously I'm back on medication. When I have a flare-up as a mum, it's difficult. I can't make the children sandwiches or lunches. I find that hard because it's my job. I see it as my job. But lucky my daughter, she'll be 11 this year, so she helps me, and she kind of reads the signs that I'm not 100%, and she'll say, I'll make the lunches today. She doesn't really say much about, is your arthritis playing up? My son does. He has no tact, so he doesn't really see that it affects me in a motherly way or emotionally. So my daughter has to help me do my hair sometimes. I can't grip on to the hair tie to tie my hair up. My husband, I often have to wait until he gets home to cut vegetables and whatnot, because I'm just not capable of doing it. Sometimes my hands play up. My knees played up recently. That stops me from exercising and doing those sorts of things, running around with the kids as often as I would like to. I think it puts strain on the whole family. They don't show it, but I feel guilty. I get the guilt, and my husband's fantastic. He'll help whichever way he can, but sometimes it's hard for him. If I'm a bawling mess, it's hard for him to understand, I think, the depth of it, because you can't actually see it per se. So I think he finds it difficult to understand the depth of it, but he tries very hard, and he's very compassionate, which I'm very lucky to have him.